Hello and welcome to the next tutorial. Today we're going to be making this articulated print-in-place butterfly. Articulated means that it can bend in a certain area with a flexible joint, and print-in-place means you don't have to put it together. It prints like that. And all this was inspired by one of my students, very talented young lady. Let's call her M&M. And she designed these things, these two butterflies down here. And I saw them and I thought, wow, that's amazing. She even printed these in 3 separate parts and then put them together afterwards, all on her own. Very impressive stuff. So I thought, let's see if I can make something with what she did, because I am very impressed with it. So I'm going to move these over here and I'll show you what I came up with based on her designs. And a little mixture of my own, because I wanted these things to move, just like hers, right? Hers would move. So here's mine. Mine is going to be all in one piece, so you don't have to, put it together afterwards. So let's get started. We're going to start off with the cylinder. So let's go ahead and grab one of these. And we're going to start off making these 3 pieces right here. We're going to maximize the sides. There you go. And then rotate this by 90 and click the letter D. All right, it's already down, so we're good. So here are the dimensions. Let's see. The dimensions are going to be, let me just rotate this because it's easier to see if I go in this direction. 7 by 6 and 6. All right, so there we go. That's how we're going to start. Now, what we're also going to do is grab a hyperboloid. Now, if you don't know what that is, you have to go to the shapes library, go down to shape generators, and I believe it's going to be a green one. Yep, there it is, hyperboloid. We're going to do the same thing here, and whoa, let's maximize the sides. By the way, I always like to maximize the sides, so just let's make that a given every time you see a new shape. So here are the dimensions for this one. It's also going to be 7. So right there, oops, right there. Also going to be 6 and also going to be 6 here. So essentially they're the same exact shapes. And we're going to change this to a hole. There it is. So let's align the two. I'm going to click the letter L and I'll click here and there and here. So now we have these 2 things. Great. Not done yet. Not done. We're going to need a cube. So let's go back to the shapes library, basic shapes, and we need a cube. And guess what the measurements are going to be? That's right. 7. And this one is going to be 6. And of course, the last one's going to be, just kidding, it's going to be 2.5. And now we need to align them. Click the letter L. And there. Okay, everything should be good. And then the reason I have this block right here is because this is going to be at the bottom. And if you just have this part right here printing at the bottom, there's a good chance it's going to fall over with all the pressure of the printer. So with this in mind, this right here, we're going to group. We're going to create something. There you go. That's what we've created. But before we get started, we need another hyperboloid. There it is. And apparently it won't come over here until, there it is. And we want essentially the same one. We're going to maximize the sides behind my head. If you can't see that, my apologies. This time it's going to be a little bit bigger, but we're going to rotate this to 90. And across, we want this to be 10.2. Trust me, I've made this several times already. Then 6, and of course, 6. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to click on this so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to click the letter T. And let's just align these 2 so you can see what we're doing here. I'm going to click this one right there and right there. So technically, if we were to print this, it would be fine, except for right here, they actually do touch each other and it would cause it to not be able to move. So we need this middle part right there to be thinner. And that's called the inner radius. And we're going to change that to a 4, the inner radius to a 4. And that's what we want right there. I'm going to click on just the green part, the hyperboloid, and click the letter D just to make sure. Yeah, okay, it's touching the ground. Good. We need that. So with this, we have essentially most of the body aligned. You see that right there? We have 3 of these. So I'm going to duplicate and then move this over. Let me make sure it's barely touching. Don't want it to be touching that much. Oh, I need to change my settings down here. I want to change that to 0.1 and let's see if that's enough. Oop, too much. So enough right there. And then I'm going to duplicate it again and let's make sure this one is okay. There's no space. Oh, there is a space. So too much. So I'm going to change the settings to off completely so that it will be right there. All right. We've got most of the body down. So at this point, I'm going to rotate it just because it's easier for me to see. So you don't have to rotate it if you can see everything fine. For me, I have this in my head of what what I'm supposed to be, looking at and all the dimensions. So let's just go ahead and start with, I believe we're going to be working on the head, cylinder, and a cube. Yeah. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to get let's go back to the basic library, the shape library. And we're going to start with a cylinder again. Of course, we're going to maximize the sides. And we're going to rotate this. Now, this one is actually going to be not the head. And I'll show you what we're going to be doing here. This is going to be 6 here. And the width was 1. In case I didn't say that earlier, the width was 1. And we want the height of 6. So essentially we have just a circle over here that's just really thin. Now we're going to do pretty much the same thing with the cube. Let's go ahead and grab a cube. The dimensions are going to be, again, 1. The side is going to be 6. And the height, let's just move it over here so we can see it better. Height is going to be 3. And that did not make it 3. I don't know why. 3. Okay. Now we're going to align these two. Letter L. There and there. Okay, that's what we want. Now, why do we want this part right here? This is actually going to, let me group it, Control G. What I'm going to do with this is kind of make it a placeholder so that it doesn't fail during the print. Now, check this out. Oh boy, I can't believe I almost missed that right there. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but there's a little bit of space right there. Not cool. So I'll move it over a little bit more. Do I see any space? I don't, but I don't trust myself, so I'm just gonna move it over right there. This thing, okay, so what I was saying, sorry, is that if the printer starts here and it makes a little tiny line and then a slightly bigger line, so there's a good chance that at one point this is just gonna tip over and it's not gonna print anymore, and your butterfly will not fly. Sorry. By the way, it's not gonna fly anyways. But I thought it would be kind of pretty, metaphorical, or something. I don't know. So now I'm just trying to align it. And if what I'm doing here to see that it's aligned is looking at this line right across here. And it's pretty even, pretty straight. So I'm going to duplicate that again, Control D. And then I'm going to hit the Shift button, hold it down while I move it with the arrow key, just because it moves it faster. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Click the letter F to focus on this, and I think we're good. At this point, this inner butterfly body part is pretty secure. It should not move when it's printing. Okay, now we'll work on the head. We're going to do, again, we're going to start this with the cylinder. We're going to maximize the sides. There we are. And this part of the head, unfortunately, is going to be memorable because your dimensions for this one are going to be 6, 6, and yes, that's right. This is the devil's butterfly head. My apologies. So we have 6, 6, and 6. And now we're gonna need a cube underneath it so that it doesn't fall apart. And 6 by 6, and this time 3. I know, you guys were thinking there was gonna be another one of those, but did not happen. Whew, we're good. Click the letter L to align after we selected both of them. And there we go, we got part of the head. The next part we want, let me click away, is a half sphere, which we're gonna drag here, rotate 90 degrees, and again, 6 by 6. I think there's another 6 in there. And, oh, that one actually should have been 3. I'm gonna click the letter D to move it up. How are the dimensions here? Oh, they're already good, except I don't want the head to be that big. Do I? I don't know. Your choice. For this one, your choice. I'm going to put that at 3. Yeah, that's fine. But let me make sure the head is touching the neck part right there. And you look at that. It is not. This thing would have fallen apart had I not checked. All right, not bad. All right, we're good with this. Okay, so now I'm going to group this right here and just, Control G. Next, we're going to be using a paraboloid. By the way, I didn't check to see, is there any kind of separation? No separation. Okay, great. We're going to grab a paraboloid. That's this white one right there. And we're going to change the dimensions. So let's go ahead and change that. Now, this one is one where you don't have to follow it exactly. You can just make your own. And I put 2.3, 2.3 in both of them. And up here, it's going to be 7. Because this is based on what you think looks cool, that's the whole point of making your own butterfly, right? You want to change your dimensions slightly. Maybe you don't like the way my butterfly looks. That's fine. This is the part really that's going to make or break it, and then I'm going to show you how to make the wings move. As for the details, that's up to you. Right now, I'm going to maximize the sides, and the paraboloid is going to be 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. So 2, enter. There it is. Let me grab this over here and move it up a little bit. Whoa. This moves so fast. Okay. All right, that's not bad. So here's what I'm going to do. And again, this is something that you can choose to do. Otherwise, I'm going to group them, Control G, and then I'm going to have, white, I don't know. Let's just have the multicolored thing going on. I'm going to put this over here, but I'm also going to move it up. And I want to rotate it a little bit this way, and then a little bit that way. Now, again, maybe you don't like the way I'm doing this. Maybe you think you can do better, and that's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter to me. Feel free to modify this part of the butterfly, because right now, even I'm looking, I'm like, you know what? It looks kind of fat. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but for me, I want a thinner antenna. So I'm going to duplicate this, Control D, and then I'm going to click the letter M to mirror, and I want it to go in this direction. So there it is, and I'm going to hit the Shift and move that over. All right, that's not bad. Okay, now I'm going to group these two. And if you wanted to, you could actually put a little face on there. It's up to you. Control G. I will not judge you out loud. Unless, of course, it's funny, and then I'm going to say something. So now I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to see if this thing is actually, is it touching? It is not. Look at that. All right, so that's the front part. Now this back part is very decorative in nature. Just trust me on this one. So let's go ahead and, can I move back? There it is. Now, the back part of the tail is going to be another cylinder. Maximize the sides. Of course. Let's rotate this thing. Let's rotate it twice. 90. And of course, we're going to make this 6. And 6. And did I go 6 on all of them? Actually, no, this one should have been 2. My bad. 2. And then this one should have been 6. There it is. Now, yeah, right about there. One thing I did with this that I haven't done with any of these is play with the settings. Besides the sides, we're going to play with bevel. Okay, we're going to change the bevel to 2. Bevel 2, and this is what it does. it creates a little bit of an indentation on either end. Now this side is touching this part right here. Okay, that's not an issue. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to duplicate this, Control D, and then I'm going to move it with the arrows. Okay, that's okay. A little bit more. I want you to be able to see that little separation there. I think that's the part that I feel is more decorative. Now I'm going to hit the Shift button. I'm going to hold it down, and I'm going to go to 5.5. Now, if you don't get it exact, don't worry about it. It doesn't have to be. So now that I did that, and it's still selected, I'm going to hit Control D for duplicating, and there you go. Now, here's the problem. If you were to leave it like this, just like this, there's a good chance that this part would fail because look at the bottom part. You see how there's only a little bit touching the ground? Well, that's not good for printing. It makes it very unstable. So I'm going to drop this whole thing down by, is it going down? No, I didn't grab the wrong thing. So I'm going to grab this, move this down by, I don't know, let's say 0.5. 0.5. Close enough. It seems like a lot. Let's go 2.25. That's a little bit better. So what I'm going to do now that I move them all down, and you can see a little bit, at the bottom, I'm going to grab one of these, put it, oh, whoa. I'm going to put -20, -20. And now I'm going to group these four right there and this one. And I'm going to hit Control G. And now you'll see that the bottom actually is connected. A lot more space down here, a lot more area for it to hang on to the ground while it's printing. And now you have the basic shape of the center of the butterfly. Okay, now let's do some wings. Now, one thing that really stood out to me about her wings was that the shapes inside were organic, and she actually went all out. Let's focus on this right here. Now, if you want to do something like this, wow, good luck with that. Try to figure out how she did all this. I think there was something with the drawing tool, this one right here, the scribble tool. And then she used some other, I'll show you some of these things, but for the rest, good luck. You're going to be on your own. Try to figure those out. I am just too lazy to make them. But yeah, good luck. Okay, so let's grab some spheres. I'm sorry, no, cylinders. Maximize the sides. And we want this to be 3. 3, right there. Okay. Now, the wings of the butterfly usually are bigger on the top, and then it's a little bit smaller at the bottom. So I'm going to duplicate this because I want there to be a little bit of, I don't know, something that's not so uniform here. See, so now it's like bubbling out. So I'm going to grab both of these, Control D, and then drag them over here, but I'm going to shrink them. So I'm just going to, without hitting the Shift button, I'm going to move them over here. Now, very important. Let's look over here. I do not want these touching the sides. This is ultimately the wings are going to be touching these, but not yet, and not with the actual wings. So we want them to be close, but not actually there. So let's go ahead and move those over. While we're going to manipulate this thing to make it look a little more butterfly-like. So let me click away. I'm not giving you any numbers here because you're just going for a certain look. And there's no, right number for the butterfly look. You just look at it and say, yeah, that's a butterfly, or no, not a butterfly. Whatever. Okay, your call. I personally am not liking the, oh yeah, that looks a little bit better right there. Yeah, good. I like this. But the final, for me, always the final is going to be, what does it look like when it's all one piece? So let's see. I'm going to group all these, Control G. That's not good. I don't like that. So I want this to be a little bit further in, like that. I want this to be a little bit like that. Maybe let's make this one stick out a little bit more. All right, now let's try that. Control G. Excuse me, that's a little bit better. You see how this one sticks out here twice? That's what I'm looking for. Sorry about the coughing. Allergies are getting to me. So maybe I can stick this one out here. Rotate. Again, when you're making this, just make it however you like. As long as you're not, touching over here, make it look whatever you think a butterfly should look. And let's drag this one over here a little bit. Actually, no, let's do this. I'm going to rotate this one down and drag it there. Oh, I'm liking that. All right, let's try it now. Control G. Yeah, no, not liking that. I know this is my life. This is what I do when I'm trying to have fun, is try to make stuff, and sometimes that's what you do. You keep making and remaking until you get what you like. Okay, I'll move this up over more. All right, this one looks a little bit better. I'm okay with this. I am definitely okay with this. So now, I'll show you how I do this. But again, if you want to decorate any other way, that's fine. Okay, so right now what I did is I dragged this over here, and you see how it's green? I believe that's a clear indication that this is not going all the way down. It is using this as the top. Not what I want, so I'm going to click away, but click on it and then click the letter D. Now it's all the way down. There it is. Because I want to make a hole in this thing, right? Let's maximize the sides. I don't want it to be a perfect circle, so I'll just, do something like this. Rotate it and then duplicate it. And one thing that I really liked about this young lady's design was that it had a lot of little holes, and that made it look kind of pretty, right? The little holes made it look really cool. Oh, how did that go over there? And right there, just drag this over a little bit. Duplicate. You put in the opposite direction. I don't know. Let's just try things. Let's have one that's a circle. Again, I did that thing. Control D. And maximize the sides, but at the same time, I'm going to hit Shift and then make that a circle right about there. And you know what? Let's just keep on doing this thing right here. I'm selecting those three. I'm going to hit Duplicate and then drag them over here and then rotate them. Why? Because I'm lazy. That's why. I don't want to do all this work again. Let's put that there. Click away. I'm going to rotate this. Oops. Right there. Better. And then this one, I'm going to rotate. Not bad, not bad. I'm going to duplicate this one, and then I'm going to rotate it this way. Put it right there. Too big. I'm going to hit Shift. That's the other thing. You don't want to be thin in between the circles. You want there to be enough space so that it doesn't break super easily. That would not be cool. So I'm showing you right now, one way to do this. Down here at the bottom, I'll show you another way that gives you, not so obvious shapes that you're working with. It gives you a little bit of a difference. So there's that. Okay, that's fine. Maybe add some little tiny ones here. But let's use the shapes library, shape generator, and we want the one right here called extrusion. Now, the cool thing about extrusion is that you can make it look kind of different and unique for every little one right there. And we can make it a hole. You see what I'm doing here? Not bad, right? But maybe I don't want that. Maybe I want it to be like here or something, and that's fine. There it is. So I'm going to duplicate this, Control D, and then I'm going to move it around. But you know what? Maybe I don't want it to look like this. Maybe I just want to shrink this part and put it right there. Or maybe I want... So you see what I'm doing here? I'm just essentially manipulating this image. There it is. Well, maybe I'll just drag one of these over here and be like, all right, well, where'd that go? And I want to put that right. Let's put it right here. So you have options. It's not just about one way of doing these things. And I'll just grab another one here and then make it, I don't know, kind of weird looking. No, that looks too weird. And then I'm going to shift down, make that there. Actually, I think I should do it this way so there's more curvature going in that direction. Let's grab one of these, Control. I'm just trying to fill some space here. Maybe, let me rotate right here. Actually, let's go the other way with this one. And try to make this a little bit more of an oval. That's a lot easier said than done. Maybe I'm grabbing the wrong side. Wow. It's a lot easier just to be like, oh, let's just make that 4 by 4, and there we go. And it's not 4 by 4. I think I may have rotated it and caused it to not be on center anymore. Let's grab the little one, Control D, and then shift that down. Oops, it's not down. Put it right here. And for my last one, let's make a perfect circle again. Again, this is something you should be doing on your own. Don't worry about my design here. Make it look like your own butterfly. All right, so there's that. Okay, we're good with that. We're almost at a part where it's going to start to look like a butterfly, but the next step, actually, I'm just going to select all of these and make it a group. And make sure it's only this part right here. Control G. It's like I'm a tiny butterfly. And you all look like ants. Okay, so that right there, pretty good. The next step is actually to subscribe to my videos. Seriously, that's the next step. Go ahead and don't go to the next part until you subscribe. Okay, good. I'm gonna move this over a little bit. I'm gonna duplicate this one, Control D, and then I'm gonna rotate it by clicking the letter M, clicking this one this is the mirror tool essentially. So I'm gonna hit the Shift button so it doesn't go up or down. It just goes sliding over here to the other side. Now, this is how we make it work. This is the part where you need to pay attention carefully. Okay, I'm gonna move both of these, the wings down a little bit. So I'm gonna use the arrow key. I'm gonna hit the Shift button and the arrow key. That's a little bit better. Okay. These things are just spinning around, right? So you want them to spin in a certain way. You cannot have both of these spinning or attached to this because it won't spin. Well, technically it will. It'll just be going, it'll look weird. It won't actually look like it's flapping. So let's bring one of these over. Maximize the sides, and let's make this 3. Now I'm gonna be moving this thing around. Doesn't really matter what shape you get, but here's the important part. This part needs to be connected. I'm gonna make the right-hand side. Let me click the letter F so I can come over here and look at this. You don't want this shape to interfere with this line right here. Not the green one, with the one that's next to the green one. You don't want it crossing because then you're gonna mess up the rotation. You want it to be touching here and at the same time here, okay? Now we don't want this on the other side. The one on the right, I'm gonna click D and then drag this over here. The one on the right is the one that's gonna be holding these outside connections, okay? Now let's move it. Like I said before, you don't want this touching that, so I'm gonna put it near the center. Okay, that's good. Now you're like, but that now looks kind of weird. You're right. Before I fix that part, I'm gonna bring in one more of these right there. I'll put it over here while we fix over here, this side, this right wing. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna click on the wing, ungroup it. Now guess what I'm gonna do? I'm going to group it again. Control G. And now that wing looks like it did before, but now it's gonna have these connections to these two right here. Now we're gonna make this one connect at the center right there. Let's click the letter F to zoom in. All right, so that's not bad. So now this one will be able to move with this, and the right side will be able to move with the outer two. See how that works? Let's group these two right there. And you know what? It looks like we're done. At this point, you're gonna have to decide, hey, do I want to go on to another video in my advanced section or go back to the basic section if this is too hard? Because I have playlists for both advanced and basic playlist. Or am I going to tell my friends about this? Or maybe I'll tell my enemies because I want them to do all the things that I did, but because they have no idea what they're doing, they're going to go through pain and suffering, and who doesn't want that? Okay, so let's group all of this together, and you should be able to see. I don't know what you're going to see. It said a finished butterfly, essentially. All right, well, thanks for watching this video. I hope it worked out for you. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.